Good day yesterday. Expect a good day today. Excited to be out here, and these guys getting ready to go. Some final preparations for the week. So with that, I'll open up.
I know you don't want to give away the game plan with quarterbacks, but you just talked about the KJ Jefferson, when we might see him in, and how that will.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a plan of when we'll get him in. I don't know exactly when, but there is a plan to get him in and get him some reps and get him going. And we're excited about both these guys. They've had a really good week of practice and started Sunday, and I'm excited for them.
Do you go with the hot hand after both of them play?
Well, you get in and you try to find a guy that's creating a groove, and obviously we get in there and get things rolling, and you stay with who's moving the football. And but there's also opportunities to get each one of these guys in. Whichever one has a hot hand, you're able to come in and they're able to do some multiple things to help you out in some situations.
With their packages, how much have you had to expand the offense and some of the stuff, if at all, with the two of them?
Yeah, they've done a really good job. I mean, this is something that these guys have been working and getting reps for several weeks, and even going back to fall camp, but really probably about the last month or so, just bringing them along, and they've done a great job with it. Both of them have.
Now that John Stephen is the starter, how's he responding? And more importantly, how are the teammates responding to him in that role?
Well, he's doing a really good job. The guys are excited. They're just excited to get back out on the field and get back out here and play and get out there Saturday for our senior day. But they've responded well. Yesterday was a really good practice, a lot of great energy, and John Stevens brings a spark to us, and we're excited to see what he can do Saturday.
Is it weird having somebody imitate Ty Story in practice? And who's doing that?
Yeah, well, it's been really good. I mean, obviously we're excited for the success Ty's having. He's having a really good year, and I think Ben's went over a little bit at times, and Nick's went over a couple of times. And Jack Lindsay's been over there, so it's they're rotating guys through over there to give our scout team a good look.
Who are you going with for offensive captaincy?
Mike Woods.
Coach, what's the latest on Kirby Adcock and Warren?
Davion is out. He will not play this week. We'll see after the open week where he's at. And Kirby is in green today again, so we'll see how he progresses today.
Coach, Agim and Scooter were talking yesterday about, wow, it's our last game. You look up and it's gone that fast. Do you talk to the kids about that kind of thing and try and get them to appreciate each step of this process?
Well, you work so hard for just 12 opportunities a year, and you never want to take one of those 12 and not give everything you got. And so, and now that we're down to our final 3 opportunities, and an opportunity in our home stadium here on Senior Day is a special day for a lot of these guys. 17 of these seniors are going to be honored Saturday, and we want these young guys, at some point they'll be seniors, but these young guys to be able to appreciate the hard work and all the stuff that our seniors have gone through in their 4 and 5 years here, and it's we want it to be a special day for those guys.
What about a message to fans on Senior Day to come out and support these guys who have worked so hard these last 4 years?
Yeah, these guys have gone through a lot. These seniors they've gone through a lot of transition, a lot of change. And they've been extremely resilient, and they just keep coming back and coming to work and giving everything they got, and they deserve everybody's best. They deserve every one of our staff, our coaches, our underclassmen. They deserve their best. Our fans, come out and support them. These guys, again, are pouring their heart and soul out. When you're able to look and see a Scooter and watch Scooter the way he plays, and Sosa and these seniors, it's special to see these guys just keep giving and pouring everything they got into it. And it's in practice. It's every day in practice. And so, I'm encouraged to get these guys, out this week with.
Hello, everybody. It's our Thursday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, coming to you here on KDSJ 479. Real quick, want to give a shout out to all of our great sponsors: Lindsay and Associates, Locomotion, Corey Beck's Custom Painting, and KDK's Chicken, located at 989 Razorback Road. And we'll let you hear it coming in today's show with audio from head football coach Chad Morris, and our availability with Coach Morris yesterday. Talked about, this upcoming game versus the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. Also talked Ty's story, what it's going to be like to play against Ty. And, the young guns. Talked John Stephen Jones and also KJ Jefferson, two young men that will be getting the bulk of, or all of, I should say, the game plan on Saturday. You'll see both John Stephen and KJ. Make a note for fans that'll be coming to the stadium. KJ will be wearing number 1. In honor of Davion Warren, who will not be playing, I believe, this week and possibly weeks down the road. That hadn't been clarified to us yet, but you'll see KJ Jefferson wearing number 1 at this Saturday's ball game. And I want to come in with my home guy, Demetrius Johnson, the producer behind the scenes. What's up, my man?
Oh, not much, chilling.
You feeling some type of way about how Chad is toward KJ. Explain yourself on that. Let's just get it on out there, because here on our show, we're going to keep it real all the time. I mean, this is uncut radio here on the Hill, and so shoot it. I mean, what's your uncomfortableness with how Chad responds to the KJ Jefferson question?
I don't know. For some reason, it seems like they kind of downplay KJ. It just seems like it's almost like he doesn't realize that KJ's the starter, and I don't know why he doesn't just admit and kind of give him the keys. Like, I understand John Stevens hasn't made his way to the field. I just feel like the progression that I've seen from KJ and the progression that I've seen from John Stevens, KJ would, for me being the head coach, I feel like he should be running the ship.
Right.
I would send him out there first, and it just seems like for some reason in Chad Moore's head, there's still a quarterback battle between John Stephen Jones and KJ, and there's clearly not. To me, there's clearly a difference of athleticism and ability to lead this team between KJ and John Stephen.
I kind of feel like, I think it is, I think it's a coach that has so much knowledge of watching John Stephen play at the high school level with his son Chandler, prior to Chandler taking over as a starting quarterback at that respective high school. But I also think it's, John Stephen has been in the system. I'm not going to go off and say, well, he should be the starter, yada, yada. Nope. I think that they got it right by starting John Stephen Jones. If he doesn't start another game, at least give him one, in his career. I think John Stephen is going to always be one of those guys. And this is not a knock on John Stevens. He's always going to be that guy that'll be able to come in when the starter's not doing well here at the University of Arkansas, and he's going to be able to be a pick-me-up. Cut him a shot in the arm. Then I will say, if John Stephen Jones, if he's 6'2", 6'3", now we're talking about a whole different situation, because the young man can play the game of football, understands offense very, very well, can spin it. Maybe not the arm strength that you would like to be a big-time SEC starting quarterback week in and week out. But he does have some of the capabilities, and I feel like as the season, as this thing continues to play out, it's going to be evident who the starter at the University of Arkansas is. I'm 100% behind KJ. I feel like the guy has the intangibles to be a leading quarterback. There's just certain things that quarterbacks, the great ones, have to be great and lift SEC teams up, and I think KJ is going to be that guy. I anticipate KJ to have another very exciting game on Saturday. I anticipate those two quarterbacks, not just KJ, but John Stephen, to energize the stadium, to energize the students. I feel like it's going to be a different sideline than what we've seen in the past. Just really excited, but at the same time, I do agree. I think sometimes, Coach likes to play down a lot of his really, really good freshmen is what I've noticed, because he was kind of that way with Traylon Burks in the beginning of the season.
But I don't understand why, because these are going to be the same guys that help him keep his job next year. To me, KJ is so critical. If it was me, I would make KJ feel as if, God, this is your team now. I want you to understand that, KJ. I will be looking KJ in his eye and building a chemistry between the coach and quarterback going into the future, because again, we talked on yesterday's show about the pressure that Chad Morris is going to be on going into year 3. We understand that it's either bowl or bust, and if it was me, I don't understand why he's not. And maybe it's just me outside looking in, even from a media perspective, and he could be giving me the runaround, but just to me, it just still seems like he doesn't give KJ the respect that he gives the Traylon Burks, the notification that he gives the Trey Knoxes. I feel like the way he speaks about them, KJ should be in that same conversation and should be one of those. Well, it was 7 freshmen playing at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, quite a few.
It should have been 8. He should have been that 8th freshman and really been in that conversation of players, impact players, because he showed you that last week with the few possessions that he did go out on the field.
One of our viewers made a statement. I think it's a real good statement, and we'd like to talk about it. Matt Bounce says, how can you make that determination off of one drive for KJ? Not arguing that he is or is not better than John Stephen Jones, but Jones proved that he can move the offense just as well or even better. JSJ is not the right call to start, but it isn't sharp quarter. Okay. One, KJ needs to come in. Don't wait until the fourth quarter. I totally agree with all that. Totally agree with it.
My defense is, I feel like when you look at the intangibles, I agree.
Great question, by the way.
But to
Matt,
me, KJ doesn't have the same pedigree, or when I say pedigree, I mean body of work that John Stephen Jones. John Stephen Jones has more reps, more years in the program. I saw a little bit of John Stevens last year. It wasn't a lot, but I did see glimpses. So to me, I've seen enough of John Stephen Jones to say, no, he's not the guy. I'd rather go with a new project and a new guy that I've seen glimpses of, even if it's on a smaller scale. I've seen more of what I would like to see from the type of offense that I run, and the things that Chad Morris expresses when he says, well, I want a read option quarterback. I want a quarterback that can see downfield. I want a quarterback that can be able to run the ball. When you look at KJ and you look at John Stevens, I still feel, even from my eye test and from me playing football, that KJ fits the criteria that Chad Morris is looking into. Now, I do believe John Stevens is a solid number 2. Absolutely. Because he showed me that even in that Alabama game, he can come out and at least conduct the train. He didn't really, drive it like I want to, but he was able to keep it moving. But I just feel like KJ is going to be able to give us that superstar, that next ability to take us to the next level, where defenses really have to respect every asset that we have, from the running game to the passing game to the dual threat quarterback. And I think even with John Stevens, we're still going to be a 2-dimensional team, because I think when you go and people are going to see it when we play LSU. I want you to pay close attention to the way KJ runs the ball and the way John Stephen Jones runs the ball when it comes to LSU. And I think you're going to see a difference in what I mean by I feel like KJ's better suited to go forward as a starting quarterback for Arkansas.
My only assessment is this: 5'11", 199, 6'3", 230. That's all I'm going to say about it. I really feel like we're not making any differences, because I think that's what goes on at Arkansas a lot. Arkansas finally has 2 really good quarterbacks. And to me, when you have a number 2 that's capable of being a number 1 in the SEC, then you have a situation that's pretty favorable for you going forward. Arkansas hadn't had that. I mean, I know there's Ty, there's Cole, but there really wasn't a solid number 2 coming off the sideline, and neither was there when you were doing the Ben Hicks, Nick Starkel. There wasn't that number 2. It was always unbalanced. So I think, this fan base, you have to realize, let these 2 young men grow up the right way and let them earn it on the field. We all know, I know, and so many people in the state, we understand. He's 6'3", 228. There's no way that John Stevens physically is on the same level. But there are some things throwing-wise, maybe not the arm strength, but throwing motion. John does spin the ball just a slight tad bit better from my vantage point when I'm out on the practice field. Watching these 2 young men, I do think that after this weekend, you'll see KJ get the start nod, and I think that's something that I'm really looking forward to see how he will go into such a hostile environment against a top quality team that I'm sure no matter win or lose is still going to be playing for that playoff bid. So, I mean, there's still going to be a lot. You'll be able to really see, I think, this week, next week, and then week 3, more of the future with KJ. Now, I know that was one drive, but had there not been a fumble, he probably was going to score on that second drive too, because they were moving the football, and it was just a different confidence level, a different speed, tempo. There's some things that he did. Like I said, if you go back and watch the run with, and I told you about it with Raheem Boyd, the little give off to the belly of, it gives Raheem the ball and just that fake motion that he's going to run freezes the linebackers and a couple of those D tackles, and they're enhancing Raheem to be able to get up around the edge and get that 22-yard run. So, I mean, there's just certain little things that KJ brings to the table. John Stephen brings different little things to the table, but it's a better situation, I can say, as I sit here today, than what they've been in, Demetrius. By far and away, it's a better situation that they've been in. But we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to let you call us. The question is of the day, is Chad Morris safe after year 2? What's the record that he's going to have to come up with? In your estimated opinion, you as the fan, what record does he have to have? And then we got a question that was posed by Mr. Terry Roy. I want to address that here shortly when we come back. That's all up, but we also caught up with future Arkansas Razorback Ty Story, and now starting with Western Kentucky Hill Chopper. Here's what Ty had to say about coming back and playing his home state hall. All that's up. This on the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Let's get it.
Back to that area. It's a great area to be in, just to be able to go back and with these guys and have them kind of see where I'm from and be able to play those guys. It's going to be fun.
What is that going to be like for you? I mean, you spend a lot of your time there.
Definitely. I mean, it's a cool atmosphere. It's a cool area just in general. So just being able to do that, it's obviously going to be a little different first playing on the different side, but I'm happy to be here and happy to be able to go back and play those guys.
Is there any extra motivation there for personally for you?
We got to get a win. We just haven't been getting. These last 2 weeks been rough on us. We've been in the game fighting to the end, and it just hasn't came our way. So we just got to keep grinding and try to find a win any way we can.
Been getting any text messages or a lot of communication between guys, little chatter?
Sure. I talked to a couple of them. Actually FaceTimed a guy yesterday on the team, and a lot of I've spent 4 years with a lot of those guys, and so they're good guys, and I look forward to being able to see them this weekend.
How much of
Welcome back. It's our Thursday edition of On the Hill Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. It's our call-in segment. For those that want to touch base here, you can do so by calling 479-601-7400. We'll get you in here today here on OTH Talk to Demetrius and myself. But I want to continue on, Demetrius, with Mr. Terry Roy. I had a question. One of our loyal viewers and a guy that has a lot of great questions, I might add. If Arkansas loses this Saturday, do they clean house with the staff? Your opinion, and I'll share mine on what I think.
I honestly believe no, because I don't think they have a guy that is really interested in the Arkansas job. I think really people see the struggle it is to get Arkansas to a high performing SEC school. Right now, they're at the bottom of the bottom. Has almost been beat by every SEC team. So it's going to be hard to replace a coach in such a short little time. And I don't think it's any prestigious coaches out there that can really, for my name's sake, just bring in immediate players in a short span of time. So I think if they did, they'll be shooting themselves in the foot again, because it's just been 2 years removed since we, had Brett Bielema. I just think it's not really about the money, but just the longevity of the football program. The more you keep starting over, you're pretty much throwing the 2 classes that Chad Morris did go recruit away, and I think he did prove he can recruit. Now it's just getting the pieces, and I think it just boils down to him going to hire coaches that won't be yes men to him and kind of go back and forth with him about what really works from a schematic standpoint, and gives him the best advice to get him where he needs to be.
I think he does make some alterations. Now, as far as cleaning out the entire staff, I don't feel like Chad will do that. But there's certain positions that probably need upgrades. Unfortunately, the DC always gets the brunt of it when the team's not performing. And up to when you look at statistical, I mean, I'm a big John Chavis guy, but at the end of the day, it's not about a personal relationship. It's about what you see on the field production wise, and statistically, Arkansas is in the bottom and have been for the last 2 years. So I think to pay somebody $1 odd million and their side of the ball not play up to standard, which was the most experienced side of the ball, which makes it even worse. I mean, you're gonna have to make some changes on that side of the ball. What positions, that still remains to be seen. Offensively, we all know we've always mentioned one particular change that needs to be made. I'm 100% in that, and I think you have to have a more experienced, more aggressive offensive play caller. I think you're gonna have to have more of a attention to detail quarterback coach, someone like a Rhett Lashley or Dal Loggins, who's now the offensive coordinator, quarterback coach for the New York Jets. Dal is with SMU as their quarterback OC coach. So I think those types of guys, I think if you make changes other places, it may be offensive line, but then again, you got to go ahead. If you can't get somebody of the statue, because Sam Pittman is the best offensive line coach, I think, in college football. You have to go find somebody that can recruit on the level as Sam Pittman. And I think Coach Clem out at UCLA, he's a guy with Louisiana ties that I've always felt could be a real strong candidate to coach here and be a great recruiter in the SEC. As when those guys go from the Southwest, out there to California, UCLA, he's pretty much the main guy, and has that NFL pedigree behind him as well. So I don't think they're going to I don't think the whole staff gets cleaned out. I do think we are going to see some changes, Demetrius,
so
in that
I do
staff,
have another
without
question.
question.
Who has the advantage in this week's game, Arkansas or Western Kentucky?
I think still it's crazy, and Arkansas comes in as 2.5 point, but I think on the maturity side of things, because it does boil down to maturity in a ball game. And I think Western Kentucky has the more mature football team with several 4th and 5th year guys on their roster that'll be major contributors. But at the same time, Arkansas is home. It is senior day. I think this is a pick'em game. I really do. Western Kentucky is like the North Texas to me this year.
I do, but Mr. Roy said something that really kind of stuck out to me, that now that I'm really analyzing the game, he really made a good point. He says when it comes to John Stephen Jones starting this week, they're going to make John Stephen Jones beat him with his arm. When you look at, even when you go back to that Alabama game that John Stephen Jones played in, he didn't throw not one down the field pass. Everything was either lateral or it was a quick dump. It wasn't anything that was stretching the field where he was throwing 30 plus yards. I think he threw maybe like a 5-yard dump pass. He ran a couple of plays. They did a little jet sweep or something like that. But I think Mr. Rowe has a point. I don't really see them stretching the field with John Stephen Jones. And I'm not saying he can't stretch the field. I'm just saying I haven't seen it from him thus far, and that's going to be a critical element in beating Western Kentucky.
See, I look at that, and then my rebuttal was, I think with this offensive line, you have to use a quick passing game, the quick game with this offensive line. You don't have the horses up front that can sustain a drop back and have enough time to look downfield. I mean, you notice when they get that, it's a lot of play action. And they use it when Rakeem starts to get going or Debois starts to get going. I think if either John Stephen or KJ is able to use the screen game early in Saturday's ball game, I think that's going to open up more downfield. And then they have that element as well for stretching of the fields, that they both have the thought that they can run the football. So I think that's going to hold a lot of linebackers. It holds the safeties. You can get behind you. You notice how Arkansas has a lot of trouble running quarterbacks because that element of running, you have to stay kind of close to that line there, and too lets you go over the top. No one thought Mac Jones at Alabama would be able to go deep, but got the quick running game, the quick passing game going, and then he starts stretching the field. So I don't think, I'm not going to say John Stephen doesn't have the arm. I think it's going to be all predicated, as is always in the SEC. You have to run the football, and Arkansas is going to have to run the football in multiple ways, and you have more than Rakeem Boyd. I think the screen game is something I've seen Debois Whaley really achieve high marks in. And I think that's going to be something that we'll be able to stretch the field. They have the athletes and they have the size, but with KJ and John Stephen Jones, I think that quick passing game, those screen passes, tunnel screens, like I said, everything quick and let them run the ball a little bit. I think you get those guys creeping up to the line of scrimmage trying to stack and stop the run, then that's when the guys like Mike and Coylin and Traylon and Trey and those speedsters, the guys that they count on to stretch the field, I think will be able to stretch the field. They're going to get a deep ball or two this Saturday, I really believe. I mean, I think, those Arkansas's got some big wide receivers, but they're going to have to get the running game and the screen game. It's going to have to be real big in this weekend's game plan. I truly believe for Arkansas to have any chance to be able to get those deep balls that you'd like to see each and every Saturday, at least 1 to 4 times a game, Dimitri.
Yeah, I'm just iffy. I haven't seen enough of John Stephen Jones to really know what he can do. I just feel way more comfortable starting KJ. If we're going out there to win the game, and if I don't have to gamble, I don't want to gamble. And I feel like going out there with KJ, you're not really gambling. You look at the way the team reacted. Look at the way the sideline reacted. Look at the way the atmosphere was when KJ got in. I'm not disregarding John Stephen Jones. I'm not trying to act like he's not a potential player that could benefit Arkansas, but I feel like right now Arkansas desperately needs a win. And I feel like if you're playing to win, you go out with what works. You go out with who puts the ball in the end zone. You go out there with who can move the football. And from what I saw and from what I see, I feel the team is more comfortable out there with KJ. I feel like he makes the offensive line want to block. I feel like even when they don't block, there's a second additive that he can make something out of nothing. And again, I'm not saying John Stephen Jones can't. I just feel that KJ has a added attribute with his physicality, as you stated, 5'11" versus 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah,
199 versus 230. And you can do some things with that. And I want to see Arkansas win on this senior day, because I think if Chad doesn't, it's gonna be
even more pressure.
It's going to be crazy in Fayetteville, and I think
at some point they're going to stop the bleeding.
I don't want Arkansas to do something irrational right now.
Yeah, I think at some point they're going to stop the bleeding. But we're going to take a quick break. We caught up with Coach Mike Neighbors as his women's Razorbacks will be opening up their 2019-2020 season tomorrow morning in Bud Walton Arena at 10:30. Yes, I did say 10:30 a.m. We'll be there. We'll let you hear what he has to say. A couple of injuries may be lingering that, they've still got some information on. But after that, we're going to come back because it's time to go get into that Diamond game with all the coaching rumors surrounding Chad Morris and his staff. They still got to do one thing. They got to round up a 20 class. So we're going to bring on newest offer, 2020 defensive end prospect, Julius Coates out of East Mississippi Junior College. We'll let you hear what JC has to say and much, much more. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Let's get it.
I was packing food for the homeless and other good PR things. Hey, what's that? Oh yeah, exactly right. Yeah, it's there's a lot of rice upstairs on the concourse. Extra. My hands are not near as good as they should be. We got tested and we got exposed in a lot of areas, so it was good. Exactly what we had hoped for. I won't really know after watching opening games yesterday around the country. I think there were 65 or 70 of them. Exhibition game to a real game is different. So if we can translate what we did good and clean up a little bit of the bad, I think we'll get off to a good start. New Orleans played LSU on Tuesday. So we got a chance to see them, and they'll be they'll be a little bit ahead of us because they've already played a game. So I'm excited to see. We're a little banged up. Had a day off yesterday and had a couple of kids that couldn't handle a day off, and we've got some injuries that we're going to have to deal with today in practice, so we'll see how it goes. Kiera and Destiny Oberg, our size. Yes. Punt. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to see. I think we play with. Obviously, you focus on what you do well.
Welcome back to our Thursday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, coming to you each and every day here on KDSJ 479. And real quick, before we get to our main thing, our featured guest, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Lindsay & Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location in Rogers. Locomotion is located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall. Corey Beck's Custom Painting. Anything residential, commercial, you want it to look good, contact Corey Beck and you won't be disappointed. My favorite, I'm telling you, KDK's Chicken at 989 Razorback Road. Go see Keith and Kathy and get you a plate of that love. And like they say, it's not your mama. It's the best chicken and waffles in the South. But Arkansas continues on. Coach Morris and staff continue on in their Diamond Gang 2020 class search. And they made their way to Scuba, Mississippi. They want to talk to one of the top defensive ends in all of the junior college ranks in the country. And we thought we'd bring him here, let you hear his interest in the Arkansas Razorbacks. 2020 defensive end prospect, Julius Coates. JC, welcome on the Hill, my man.
What's going on, man?
Get into recruiting. How are things going for you in the recruiting process? You've recently picked up a couple of big-time offers here in the last 48 to 72 hours. Talk about that, JC, and how has the recruiting process gone to this point?
It's going well. It's been picking up lately. With a couple of big offers this week, but it's just going real good for me. I'm enjoying the process right now, but yeah, it's going real well.
I know you're a Colorado commitment at the moment. I don't know if it's a soft or hard commitment. I want to tell you congratulations either way that is. But what went into you picking the Colorado Buffaloes before all this extra attention hit you?
You said what went into?
What went into to the Colorado commitment?
When I got out there, I really liked the place, and I felt like they really had a plan for me. Develop me and just keep building me as a player and as a man. I really like the situation.
Now, when I asked you about
that's why I decided to do it.
Your lead recruiter to Arkansas, Julius, I guess Coach Kenny Ingram, the defensive line coach, is your lead recruiter. What has Coach Ingram told you about Arkansas as to where you would fit? And have they in the process? Are they trying to set up an official visit or anything at this moment with you, Julius?
Yeah, we're trying to figure it out right now. We're looking at the 13th of December. We're looking at that right now, but yeah, that's what we'll be setting up.
Arkansas being your first SEC offer, how big was that? I know you talked to me a few days ago and said you and your mom had a real nice conversation. How'd that conversation go? And is it something really big to get an SEC offer? Particularly in the West, Georgia.
That was huge for me, man. SEC, best conference in the country, man. So getting that offer, that was real big, man. And I got the coach know that when he offered, because as an SEC, man, you can't, when you think about going to play college football, you already know that's where the big time schools are at. So that was huge for me, man. I couldn't say thank you enough when he gave me the opportunity. So I think that was real big for me.
Talking with Julius Coates of East Mississippi Community College in Scuba, Mississippi, big-time Arkansas prospect in the 2020 class. Julius, I want to talk to you about junior college and where you play football at. Very astute junior college program there in Scuba, Mississippi. Talk about, how that benefits you in your time to prepare you coming out of high school to get you ready for the next level, which is going to be big-time college football for you.
They do things a certain way here, man. That's why, they got the reputation they have. They build guys, they coach us hard, and, it's all about winning. It's a winning culture here. So, you're not going to come here and, slack off. It's about a 2-mile long town. Nothing too crazy to do here, man. It's books and ball. That's what we focus on. We focus on getting to higher levels, and focus on doing what we got to do to get out of here. So, that's a real big focus here, man. So, it's really prepared and put me in a good position, to see how, things are going for me lately. So, it's been real good, man.
Julius, what will you be looking for? I mean, what are some of the key things that you're looking for in your college? I know you're committed to Colorado, but what are some other things that some of the main things you want to make sure are in place when you do finalize that final decision?
The main thing for me is, obviously first is, have an opportunity, to come in and, make an impact right away where I want to go somewhere where there's like a need, where, not only am I wanted here, but, I'm needed there. I need to fill a position, need to, come make an impact right away. That's the opportunity I need. I got 2 more years left. I got to make it happen, right now. And then, secondly, I need to go to somewhere where I can, develop and learn as much as I can.
Right.
I've talked to Coach about that. I still got a lot of learning to do. And I feel like there's a lot of potential for my game, my growth. So somewhere where I can build a good relationship with my position coach and just continue to just soak up as much knowledge as I can, to keep learning, keep developing, keep growing as a player.
Now, when I show up, I buy popcorn, and I'm one of those guys. I want no ice in my soda pop. I'm going to the top of the stands. I turn around, and when that ball's kicked off, what type of player do I see in number 96, Julius Coates?
You cut out a little bit right there. What did you say at the end of that?
What type of football player do I see in Julius Coates once that ball's kicked off? And that word in football is let's get it. What type of player am I going to see?
You see a guy that's looking to come out every game, just dominate every aspect of my job. And, I like to say I play relentless, and I just play. I play the right way, man. I'm going hard every play. You gonna get it like my all wherever I go, wherever I end up. I'm just
any particular
that's the type of player I am, man.
Any particular collegiate players or NFL players that you particularly like to watch, JC?
In the collegiate ranks, I like to watch Chase Young a lot because he's around my size. So in the collegiate ranks, I like to watch him. And then in the professional, there's so many. Miles Garrett, Chandler Jones. You look at the Bosa brothers. I could probably go on all day about the pro ranks, but I kind of take bits and pieces out of everybody. Not clear on that, but
right.
Yeah, it's just.
JC, talk about how important.
Take bits and pieces out of the game.
Talk about how important your mom plays and is going to play in this decision. You're real close to your mother, but talk about just how big and how important she's going to be in this whole process.
You said my mother?
Yes. Yeah, talk about how big she is with this recruiting process.
She's a big part of it, man. She's been through this whole process with me. So, obviously she's a tremendous part of it, man. She just like recruiting me, should be like recruiting my mom too, because that's my number one, man. So obviously she plays a big role in it, man. So any decision I make, she's gonna be with me on it. So I can't even put it into words how big she is in this process, but it's a huge part.
Talking with Julius Coates of East Mississippi Community College in Scooba, Mississippi at the moment. JC, I want you to give me a list. I know you're committed to Colorado, but who are some of the other schools outside of Arkansas that have given you recent offers and maybe you might consider taking an official visit to at this moment?
Outside of Arkansas, I'd say Oregon, Nebraska. I'm looking at K-State, trying to figure out something there, but it's real early.
With a player of your stature, JC, you got a lot of options, man. I get where you got a lot to eat on the table at this moment. But got a couple minutes, about a minute and a half left, and I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to finish this statement for me. When football is over, for Julius Coates, he'll be doing what afterwards?
You said when football is over, what?
What will you be doing after football is all said and done for JC?
After football is all said and done, man, that's a real good question. After football is all said and done, I'll probably be doing something in the engineering field, or I may be doing some coaching of my own. I don't know, man.
A lot of time, young man,
man.
in life.
Obviously, I got to give it some thought, but
Well, hey,
I
my
have to
man,
look into it more.
love having you on, man. Congratulations in whatever decision you decide to do. Hope you, sometime maybe take a peek down in the hill, and maybe I get a couple more extra years with you. But if not, I'm still going to follow you. But also, right now, my man, thanks for taking time out here on OTH, Julius.
I appreciate you reaching out, man.
All right. That was Julius Coates of East Mississippi Community College and School of Mississippi, one of the elite junior college programs in all of college football in the junior college ranks. And I'm going to tell you now, Demetrius, you saw that man's film. You are a baller. Let me get it. Let me tell you again. You are a baller if you can make it out of East Mississippi Community College. I mean, multiple national championships over the years. They were a part of Last Chance U, the original junior college of Last Chance U that was followed so many years. And watching his tape and his size, 6'6", about 265, 270 defensive end. Demetrius, as we wrap up today's show, Arkansas is really starting to hit the junior college ranks, which you can kind of see. Chad and that defensive staff and that offense staff are looking for more mature guys, and I think that's what's going to be needed. I think you need next year to add some juniors to this team with a different type of nastiness and maturity that maybe might be lacking just a little bit in your older crowd.
Definitely. I feel like if you add that to the youth, especially amongst the defensive line, because if you can get that back end with a little bit mature, especially on the defensive side, and then get some more experience on the O-line, and you look at the freshmen that he's went and got for skill positions, and even at the quarterback, running back, and receiver position. Again, if we can get some experience on the back end of the defense and that O-line, Arkansas will be a totally different team.
I mean, you look at it. I mean, just think. I don't know, and I've told a lot of people out in the Belltown, family members, it's real surprising when you really sit down and look at the way that they've been able to recruit and seen some of the kids in the 20, 21, 22 classes that have made official visits or unofficial visits to this program. It speaks that Chad and his staff are selling something. I don't know what they're selling, but it's obviously something these kids are really interested in. I mean, mind you, they just beat Mike Harris, a young man out of Phoenix City High School, Central High School in Phoenix City, Alabama. LSU and Alabama were his other two finalists. And that speaks volumes when you're able to do that, considering what you've gone through. You're 4-17, and yet still you have a lot of the top junior college players and some of the top elite high school young men that you're still in the running for that have made official visits, unofficial, or planning to make official visits. And that speaks about, your ability to recruit eye talent. I've noticed a lot of times this staff has initially offered a young man prior, being more or less the first, and then years or months later, this guy blows up. I've seen that multiple times go on here in their time on the university. So they're on the right kids. They're not afraid to go up against some of the elite programs. I feel real good about saying that this staff has recruited against the best. They've gotten us some. I think, if they make the right alterations and continue to strengthen themselves in recruiting, this thing could turn around real quick because they're not far off. It's just certain spots that need to get a tremendous SEC upgrade in talent before we can really expect winning football. And I don't think that's too far around the corner, in my own humble opinion. But that's going to wrap up our show for today. I want to give a shout out to our guest, Julius Coates from East Mississippi Junior College, coming on and giving us his interest level update on Arkansas and where he's sitting in his commitment to Colorado and all things pertaining to his recruitment. I think this is going to be a big time prospect for whomever gets this man. Nebraska, Arkansas, Colorado, Oregon, you name the list that they want this big 6'6" JUCO dominant force, I believe. I think he's going to be a huge impact at his prospective school of choice. Also, too, want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Lindsay & Associates, Locomotion, Corey Beck's Custom Painting, and KDK's Chicken. Wants to give a thank you to my producer, Demetrius Johnson. And also, too, that's going to wrap it up for tomorrow's show. You know how we do it. we'll be back. It's the A tomorrow, and you know we got to get you ready for that 11 a.m. kickoff between Arkansas and the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. Also, too, want to make a note, we will be here with post-game interviews following Arkansas's women's 2019-2020 opener as they open up at 10:30 a.m. from Bud Walton Arena on Friday. Tomorrow morning. We'll have all of that we'll bring to you in the game, post-game from Coach Neighbors, and we'll have a few players. It's just a lot going on, Demetrius. There's a lot going on. But that's going to do it for myself, for my producer, Demetrius Johnson, to you all. Thanks for watching our Thursday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins. You guys have a blessed one, and let's get it.